a fucking day in the NFL world.
Yeah, I started it.
You're recording?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back to the League of the Wings podcast. I'm Titus Oldham. Happy holidays. We're getting to the point where it's make or break for these, on the edge playoff teams. And for fantasy leagues, we're already in the playoffs trying to, make the championships happen. Caleb, your team won
Yeah,
this week.
and it was a good weekend. I won in fantasy. The Eagles won. They're headed to the Super Bowl. They're looking
You're
at
up in fantasy. You still have a week. You
that
still
is
have a
true.
week to win that matchup. But yeah, Eagles won.
Yeah, that was
Why?
crazy. I feel so
Well,
bad
I
for.
actually didn't get to watch the whole game. I was mainly paying attention to Detroit Green Bay because that was pretty close at one point, and I'm in Detroit, so my family was excited about that. And I was paying attention to Colts beat down on the Raiders. Raiders were up on us at one point, so it had me
Yeah.
worried. But then we just second half defense from the Colts is just so good. Anyways, so I didn't get to pay attention to like what precisely happened with the Eagles there. What went? What happened? What changed?
But look, okay, I feel so bad for Wentz because I don't know what it is, but with backups, we just do so much better. Like Doug Peterson is 11-2 without Carson Wentz, and I have like just the mismanagement of Wentz as like Wentz is like a top 5, top 10 QB at his like prime, but he's just like
Of course.
he's just sloping down on the downwards trend, and I think the organization lost faith in him. But like I have no idea how we were able to win
Right.
because honestly, I think it's all on our defense. All our defense has been playing super well the last few games. Because during the Seattle game, they held the Seahawks to like
That's
low
true.
scoring, and then we could have won that game, but it was our offense that couldn't pull it out. But I think it's throughout the season, I feel like we could have won a lot more games if we just had offense because our defense has showed up time and time again, except for like a couple games here and there, whether that was the Steelers game or just like a couple other games where the defense let the opposing offense get pulled away. But I think the defense showed up and the offense actually scored that they needed to.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts had over 100 yards in rushing and not receiving, passing. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool for his
Um,
first start. That's
yeah.
that's impressive.
I think he's the only quarterback to do that other than Lamar Jackson to
Yeah.
rush over 100 yards in his first start as a quarterback. But yeah, like the Saints went 28 straight games without allowing a 100+ yard rusher, and they allowed two. They allowed two 100-yard rushers. So we actually
Miles
ran the
Sanders went
ball.
off too, yeah. And that was the
I'm
thing. Everyone was like, this offensive line can't support that run game, and that's why, Doug Peterson, put a lot of the weight on Carson Wentz to get the passing game going rather than feeding Miles Sanders. But it seemed they were just fine. The offensive line, which were without a lot of key members.
I think Hurts too threw the ball super fast as well. He got the ball out of his hand where
That's important.
Carson Wentz was holding the ball a lot, I feel too, because with the offensive line we have so many injuries. We have three offensive linemen that are going to be out for the rest of the season, and they're big starters too. So you have to get the ball out as fast as possible with our offensive line, and Jalen Hurts was able to
Right.
do that.
Yeah, I always said that like this Eagles offense I think works best fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
Historically even. And Carson Wentz has been getting a bit slower. I think it might be a confidence thing too. I think he might have one of the worst mentalities at this point in the entire NFL. Maybe Sam Darnold, but even I feel like you can make a debate there
Yeah.
because Carson Wentz has not been looking good. And even Aaron Rodgers, after he played the Eagles, he said like he had to give a little pep talk to Carson Wentz, and he wasn't going to repeat his words exactly. He wanted to be very personal. But Aaron Rodgers could tell that he was having a
Yeah.
mentality problem,
Yeah.
and it's not even that he's that young of a guy either. He's like what 20? He's 26 or something, right?
Yeah, I think he's 27, 28. So he's getting
Oh,
up
he's
there.
even older than I thought.
Yeah, because he came into the league super old because he played in college for 5 years.
That's right. Yeah.
Because he came into the league old too. But like just his confidence as well, because the lack of confidence shows. especially when he plays.
Anyways, so Eagles might have a little spark. Do you actually
Yeah.
want them to make the playoffs? Do you want to see where Jalen Hurts can take you, or do you want to just get the draft pick?
As of now, it's so hard to make the decision,
Right.
but we have to have so many things happen for us to make the playoffs. Like we have to
That's
have
true.
Washington lose the next 2 out of the 3 games, and we have to have Giants lose a game or 2. We play Washington, so we're able to get that win, and we have to win out. But if we can play as strongly as we did against the Saints, then the Saints are the best team in, like, the NFC. I feel like we can have a matchup against some of these tough opponents because we play the Seahawks really well as well. And if we can play up to that, I wouldn't mind seeing the Eagles in the playoffs. But if they can't show up like they did against the Saints, and I would rather have the draft pick at this point. My opinion is going to change based on this week.
I personally think the Packers are the best team in the NFC, but Saints are a
Yeah.
close second for sure.
Yeah.
Especially since they didn't have Drew Brees. But
That is true. I forgot about
still, Taysom Hill was a great backup.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna discredit the Eagles win. Like Taysom Hill and that Saints defense are still very tough.
The Saints won.
And think about it, 2 offensive player of the year candidates.
Yeah.
Or past winner,
Yeah. Still a lethal offense too. But the Saints won 8-0 before the Eagles, 8-0 in the last 2 years, using a backup quarterback after Drew Brees went down. So they still have a lot of potential even without Drew Brees.
I think Drew Brees is coming back next week though.
Yeah.
They were saying it was possible this week, but they didn't want to risk it, and I think he's coming back next week. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't risk it with the playoffs coming up as well too.
That is true. You need him well rested. But seeding still matters at this point because Green Bay can take their bye from them. Yeah. So before I go into the actual scores, I noticed only recently, that you and Brendan made a lot of roster changes before your matchup, which was really cool to see. You guys were preparing for war.
Yeah.
And me and Sophia did nothing whatsoever. Yeah, so I'll just go over that real quick. You dropped James Conner, which I think was fair. I don't think their rushing game has been so proficient. David Montgomery is pretty good. Yeah. And then you got Nyuk Hines instead of Kareem Hunt, which I didn't agree with. I think as good as Nyuk Hines is, I'm a Colts fan. I think Kareem Hunt, in high scoring situations, as was his game against the Ravens, is really, really important to have.
I knew I was taking a big chance with that because I know he could have pop off games, and I was like, I know he's going to at least get 10 points. But just from watching the games with you and just from what you've said as being a Colts fan, he does get a lot of changes between Taylor and Hines. I just thought that he would blow up because he was due for a big game. But
yeah, I mean, it is an equal risk, Hines Taylor and then Hunt Chubb. An equal risk at who's going to pop off over the other. Mm-hmm. It's just that Cleveland depends on their rushing more than Colts depend on their rushing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's why I would personally put Hunt over, and he had his biggest game. It showed.
Yeah. I saw that. I was I honestly didn't even need to make those transactions because Sanders and Hunt had huge games and bigger games than both Hines and Montgomery. I didn't have enough confidence to actually pull the trigger and put both of them in.
But hey, you're still up in your matchup. Maybe you'll make the adjustments and solidify that win, but we'll see. It would be a huge upset against Brendan. Mm-hmm. You also picked up Zach Ertz again after he came back, I guess. Yeah. Dropped Jimmy Graham. I think that was smart, especially if this offense is headed the way it's headed. You picked up you dropped Dolphins and picked up the Seahawks. I was surprised by that, actually.
Well, I mean,
why'd you pick up the Seahawks defense?
Because they were playing the Jets, and the Dolphins defense was playing against the Chiefs. Honestly, I could have kept the Dolphins because they actually had a lights out game, and against the Chiefs, the Chiefs just put up a lot of points. But I think the Dolphins had a couple sacks and 3 turnovers or whatever.
Mahomes has so many turnovers.
Yeah, and I just didn't think that the Dolphins could actually make those turnovers. Well, I mean, the Seahawks still got me 12 points, which is good. I just
Right.
didn't think that the Dolphins could put up numbers that I needed to
Well,
do.
even after all those turnovers, Seahawks did better
Yeah,
point wise than Dolphins by like 5.
just the
That's
Seahawks
just
playing.
goes to show how bad the Jets are.
Yeah,
In typical leagues, you're not supposed to be doing transactions so late, but like I made the decision to let it happen. Like when I was forming the league, it was like, when do you want the transaction cut off? Like there's a deadline. I was like, I'll just keep it running because
yeah.
with COVID, like anything could happen. Like 2
Mhm.
days before a game, someone's out, and it's just like, well, that sucks,
Yeah.
And if you're not able to trade or get someone off waivers, it's just gonna suck for you. So, um, that's why I did. That's why I did that, and you're making the best use of it. And they picked up Jarvis Landry, which I thought was smart. Fulgham obviously wasn't proving to be the star receiver. He's still solid, but not like a
Yeah.
star.
He's down slope, and Jarvis Landry's been having a few good games back to back, and seems to be Baker Mayfield's prime target. So that's why I picked that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as for Brandon Compton Crypt Drip, he dropped Drew Brees. He dropped the Eagles for the Cowboys. Did you see that?
Yeah, I was so shocked. I was like, what?
It's just so funny as well because it's Eagles Cowboys.
I just don't like it was. I just was so shocked.
That was so funny. I remember seeing that and just laughing so loud, like, oh my gosh.
And it worked for him too because they
It
got
did. They destroyed Cincinnati.
yeah. I was like,
Which is no surprise. Pittsburgh gets to play Cincinnati, and that's who I'm putting in Pittsburgh defense. And
yeah.
I'm very excited for that.
But like I was watching it, I was keeping up, and I was like, what the? How are the Cowboys like? It's 3 straight drives. Cincinnati's like was driving down the field, and I was like, yes, Cincinnati's gonna get a touchdown or at least a
Yes,
field goal. And then they
so
fumble.
many fumbles.
It was
So
3
many.
straight fumbles. I was like, what are you doing? Like how fumbles don't happen that often. Like how are you fumbling the ball that much?
I didn't realize just how much Joe Burrow affected that team
Yeah.
until like he was off, and like
Yeah.
whoever that guy is just started taking over. Like it's insane. Andy Dalton got to return home, and good on him. Who else? He also picked up a kicker. He dropped Zane Gonzalez for Graham Gano or something.
Yeah.
The Giants kicker. Arizona kicker hasn't been as consistent. But then he picked up Eric Ebron on the Pittsburgh Steelers downtrend when he's been dropping balls all the time. And he only had a 7-point game. Yeah, 2 catches for 5 targets. Like that whole team is just dropping balls like crazy.
Their offense just can't be there if they can't catch the ball. Like I don't.
And it's not even Ben Roethlisberger's fault, which was mainly people's like worries that he was old, coming off of a year-long injury, and then it's everyone else around him who's fucking up. Then you dropped Nyheim Hines recently. This is the more recent activities going on.
Yeah, so
for Mike Davis.
So yeah, I've been doing a little digging, or I've been doing a little bit of more transactions last night and this day because I just feel like my roster hasn't been fully complete yet. There needs to be a little bit shifting here and there.
Tweaking.
And I was thinking about getting Mike Davis. He had a huge game last game, and I saw that Christian McCaffrey is doubtful, so he's probably going to be the primary back again. So I was like, this is a solid running back, and I just need at least 10, 15 points from him. And
yeah, Mike Davis, I had him as well back when McCaffrey was first out, and then he came back for 1 game, and so I dropped Mike Davis. I was like, oh, he's finally back, and then he got injured again, and thankfully Jonathan Taylor started rolling, so I didn't need Mike Davis at that point. And then I did the trade with you to get Josh Jacobs, so I was fine by that point as far as running backs went. And I say that's a good solid pickup as long as McCaffrey's out, because when McCaffrey is in, Mike Davis is not really getting much. So and he's a solid running back. Like I think he could start in some places. Like he could easily be a starter in some.
Most
on some
definitely.
teams. So maybe that'll happen. I think he's a free agent next year. I don't know.
Yeah.
You also added Brandon Ayuk, which is someone I've been looking at a lot, wondering if I should take, but San Francisco is so terribly inconsistent. But within his past 5 games, because he's also been injured, to be fair, past 5 games, he's been doing really well.
I don't
So
really.
that's a good pickup.
Thank you. I don't necessarily need a wide receiver because I feel like I have decent wide receivers with Jarvis Landry, Murray Cooper, Michael Thomas, Robert Anderson, Ayuk, and Metcalf. But I just wanted to stronger my receiving core, and he's on a roll. And versus Dallas, I just couldn't pass it up.
And then you reversed your decision about the Dolphins Seahawks thing. You got Dolphins back.
I knew the Seahawks decision was just going to be for that 1 week because I didn't trust the Buccaneers defense at all to actually stop anybody. And I still don't, especially against Atlanta. So I probably should have dropped the Bucks defense and kept the Seahawks defense now looking back at it. But the Dolphins defense is so good in recent times, even though they let up a lot of points against the Chiefs, but that is like the best team in the league. So they're going to score a lot of points. But against any other team, especially against the Patriots, I feel like the Dolphins defense can get a lot of sacks and turnovers because they're just a turnover machine.
All right, now we can go into actual matchups. Just wanted to get because I think we just have been forgetting to do those transactions stuff.
There hasn't been that many transactions lately.
Yeah, towards the end, not much. I definitely haven't. I picked up Robert Tonyan at one point in exchange for Hayden Hurst, and just because that offense, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, they've been rolling, and so any member on that team is a worthy pickup in my book.
Yeah.
We'll start talking about me versus Esposito Fries, the number 2 and 3 seed. Me being 3, and I rolled her over.
Yeah, you absolutely demolished.
I demolished this week.
Yeah.
And so I'm up big. I would have to really choke in order to lose this matchup. Just looking at my players next week and who they're playing, I think I should hold the win. I should be fine. There have been weeks where I've said I'll demolish someone and get sub 100. So.
Yeah, I was actually really shocked, not necessarily with your team because you've proven in the past that you can score a crap ton, but I was more shocked with how Sophia performed because her team's just been looking so good recently that I thought she would put up at least more of a matchup with you and have a closer score to her. Not necessarily not necessarily in the 170 range, but at least close to that.
The issue I saw was that it's kind of the same issue that Trey has with the Broncos. She has 3 of the Minnesota people in, and if they're playing a tough defense, maybe one player, such as Dalvin Cook did, is going to pop off or just do average. I don't think that's even popping off for him. The rest aren't going to do as well because it's a tough defense. And so Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen had very underwhelming performances. And that's 2 of her players. That's her flex and her WR2. And so that was really bad for her. And then Chris Godwin also did terrible. 2 receptions for 25 yards. So that whole game, Tampa Bay versus Minnesota, was just not good for her. Darren Waller did fine, actually. Probably could have done better if Nyheim Hines didn't pull off the greatest interception of all time against him. I mean, not Nyheim Hines. What am I saying? Kenny Moore the second. Yeah, Darren Waller was doing fine up until that point, and then that was when defense was rolling. Who else? Justin Herbert didn't have a good game. He hasn't had good games recently. He's usually been way better, but unfortunately, even putting Josh Allen would have been better.
But even Josh Allen didn't even do that much better. He only did 3 points better comparatively.
Yeah, that was a low-scoring game for the most part between Josh Allen and Pittsburgh. Which, 2 really great defenses, and then it was the complete opposite the following night. between Ravens, Browns. Her Rams defense was the first to play. She got 20 points there, and that's when I was worried. You know, it was like 3 days, like, oh my gosh, Friday, Saturday. I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Her Rams defense already popped off. Like, this is the worst start. And then, everyone else kind of crumbled.
I was watching
What
that
were you
game
guys?
and I was like, the Rams are going off, and I was getting worried for you because it's like the defense, they're not supposed to do that well.
Yeah, that's what you were saying last week. Like, I have the edge with the defense and kicker, and
Yeah.
completely didn't happen. My edge did not come from my defense or kicker. They actually lost their matchups against her defense and kicker. Colts defense, they had a pick six, another interception, and a fumble recovery, but they did let up 27 points and a lot of yards. A lot of yards had to go by before they got those turnovers, unfortunately. Yeah, that was a big issue for us. I was actually like very surprised. But like Raiders, their number one asset is their offense. There's that. And then other key members on my team, I mean, a lot of people did really great. Stephon Diggs had an amazing game. He hasn't had he's been consistent, I guess, but like nothing amazing recently up until this point against Pittsburgh. He was definitely the shining star of the Bills against Pittsburgh. And then Aaron Rodgers, MVP performance. He's looking like the MVP favorite, especially since Mahomes, something happened to him. I don't know what went wrong there. 4 total touchdowns and 290 passing yards. That's amazing. Jonathan Taylor, 2 rushing touchdowns, 150 yards. Rookie of the year contender, maybe. I don't know.
If he finishes the year strong like he is, then he definitely has a chance. I can see it happening.
I was thinking defensive rookie of the year could still go to the Colts as well through Julian Blackmon, but he hasn't had any like big plays like the other Colts defense has. And then there's Chase Young, who just had a fumble recovery touchdown. So
yeah, he played lights out versus the 49ers, and I was thinking that like the Colts guy, he's not gonna have much of a chance after that performance.
Yeah, Chase Young was already the favorite, and that's just solidified it. So Chris Carson did good, a touchdown there. Keenan Allen always does good, touchdown there as well. Tanyan did about average for a tight end. Mm-hmm. And Tyler Lockett was not the strongest person on my roster. Should have put in Calvin Ridley. That was kind of like my debate. Yeah. Whether to put in Lockett or Ridley, and yeah.
You should have learned your lesson from last week. I mean, like,
dude, I already have that bet with you that Lockett's going to get that 25 plus game again. So like, I'm looking out for it. Like at some point it has to happen.
But, that is true. But like, come on, Calvin Ridley.
I mean, it's not like Calvin Ridley has been super consistent either.
That is true. Yeah.
This is his first in our league, at least 20 plus point games since week 5.
Yeah, now I thought he had more 20 plus point games than that. I thought that's weird.
Yeah, he has a good average. Like he's consistently around average, and so you can depend on him in that aspect. But like because I already have Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen, I wanted my flex to be someone who can just like potentially pop off in the way Tyler Lockett could. I was just making a little gamble, but it didn't happen there. And then, I guess on her side, we went through all of them. Yeah. Even her, like, looking at her backups, it's not like anyone I would have put in that would have done necessarily better, except maybe Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
But even he didn't do, like, amazing.
That's, like, the only one that has, like, a big point differential between her receivers, but, like, her tight end is only, like, a couple points better than her. Well, I guess she could have put the tight end in the flex, but like even then her tight end only did a couple points better than Darren Waller. Yeah. So it's not like if she would have put her bench in, she would have won or had that much more points.
Yeah. So I have a 48-point lead, and then we've seen it. Like all it takes is one massive performance from someone to make up that difference. Tyler Lockett's done it. DeAndre Hopkins has done it.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, they've all done it.
Yeah.
I think Dalvin Cook at one point, Alvin Kamara. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, your matchup, you did good. You did good, man.
If I would have put in Miles Sanders and kept Kareem Hunt in, I would have had like 180 plus points.
It would have been insane.
Yeah, and I was just like kicking myself because it's like I had the players on my roster that like could have like boomed, but I just like didn't trust them enough, and I've just been kicking myself ever since then. But
Yeah.
um,
You went with Naheem Hines.
yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there. I just thought I was taking a huge risk with that, and I thought he would pop off, but uh, Jonathan Taylor did that job instead.
JT, baby.
Rookie of the year. But so I was telling you that I was feeling confident about this week last week. I was like, even though Brendan's been like popping off recently and he's the number 1 seed and I'm the last seed, I still feel confident because we've talked about how even though I've been in this little stump recently or the second half of the year, more like it, I just felt like I could pop off and that's what I did. Even though I could have it's not my best performance, and it's not like that like,
Yeah.
not the best performance out of the entire league, but, like, popping off for my standards, and I could have even popped off even more, like I said, but, Russell Wilson did average. I think he's finally going into form. Hopefully, this can give him a little I hope that this can give him a little bit more confidence, even though
I
it
mean,
wa
throwing an interception against the Jets is like what?
Yeah, I saw that, I was like, "What are you doing?" And it was, like, early in the game, and I thought it was going to be one of those games again, and I was like, "Are you really gonna have, like, a crappy game against the Jets?"
I
But he
think
ended
he's
up
trying to overcompensate for his defense, but like if his defense can power up in the way that they did against the
yeah,
Jets, if they
I
can carry this momentum, then he won't have to overcompensate. But
yeah,
we'll
and
see.
then his defense has been playing really well besides the Jets too, and he
Mhm.
got me 20 points. David Montgomery had a 80-yard touchdown, and
Yeah,
he got 113 yards and a rushing touchdown. Himes did
yeah.
average. We already talked about that. But Amari Cooper did average, 4 receptions, 51 yards, a receiving touchdown. DK did average as well. Travis Kelsey is popping off. This is like,
He has the most receiving yards in the entire league. A tight end has the most receiving yards, and on a team where that has Tyreek Hill, he has the most
yeah,
receiving yards in the entire league.
it's freaking crazy, and especially for a tight end as well. Like since week 8 versus the Jets, he's had 25 plus points in every single game except for one against the Bucks. But he had
Yeah.
point 25 plus point games in every single
Mm-hmm.
week since week 8. And it's kind of weird because he has this week he has 8 receptions, 136 yards and a touchdown for 27 total points in our league. But last week he had the same exact stats, 8 receptions, 136 yards, and a receiving touchdown. So he got the same exact like points and the same exact stat line, which is like really like weird. And I feel like that doesn't happen often enough or often, if at all.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
He's going to be over 100 receptions on the year, which is pretty good for a tight end.
yeah. I one thing I am proud to say that Zach Ertz has is the record for most receptions by a tight end. So I'm just
In a
happy,
season.
yeah, in a single season. So I'm just happy that he can hold on to that record for at least a little bit. Let's see if Kelsey can break that this year or not.
Kelsey could pop off in the final 3 games, man. I
That
mean,
is
he's been popping off, so why not?
yeah. And then Michael Thomas did average 8 receptions, 84 yards. He's yet to have a
Yeah,
touchdown this year, which is
crazy.
yeah, crazy. And then with Hill, you're not gonna get that many receiving opportunities to get a touchdown.
No.
But still, Hill's been passing the ball more. He had 2 passing touchdowns.
Yeah,
Um
291 yards. I was shocked by that actually.
and he had an interception as well. I think the thing that got me to comp or Brendan by so much, because I was 157 and he was 122. It's kind of similar to your matchup against Sophia, except for you scored like 13 more points than I did. But it was kind of
Yeah,
weird that like I blew up and you blew up, and then Sophia and Brendan had the same score.
the top
Almost.
2 seeds they got to catch up, man.
Yeah, we're beating the cup. It might be me and you for this championship, which is
Yeah, they have good star players, but I think his backups aren't that consistent. Not his backups, just like his depth.
yeah.
Because like he hasn't been able to use Drew Brees and he hasn't put in Tom Brady whatsoever. Tom Brady hasn't been doing great anyways. But like who do you put in? Robert Woods, Eric Ebron, like these are his starters. Like yikes.
Yeah.
And then I think he still should be putting in Mark Andrews. Honestly, not that Mark Andrews had a great game, but still.
He still did better than what.
I'm surprised Terry. I'm still surprised he hasn't been putting in Terry McLaurin, but I mean he didn't have a good game, so like I guess that's why. I don't think his depth is that great. That's all there is to say there. He actually has 3 tight ends. I didn't even realize.
The thing, like his starters are scary, but like if his starters aren't going to blow up every single week
Yeah.
like we did see this week. Alvin Kamara had 22 points and Hill got 18 points. Sorry, I had a hiccup there.
So good.
But I think that's what made me pull away. Is that they both, like his star players, didn't have explosive games except for Tyreek Hill. He had 3 receptions, 79 yards, and 2 total touchdowns.
But still, that's only all of 3 receptions. It could have been so much more.
Yeah, so like his star like players didn't blow up, so I think that's why I was able to pull away. And I was kind of getting that feeling because his star players were blowing up the past few weeks, and I kind of felt like I knew that they had to not play that consistently or play down to their skill because it's hard to keep that like blowing up every single week. I'm kind of scared to play him next week because I feel like they're going to blow up or like some of his big players are going to blow up. But I feel like after this week, I have enough of a lead that all I need to do is just stay close with him and I can like win the playoffs and move on to the championships. I just need to stay at least close to him. But
yours is still not a done deal, I would say.
Yeah. But I think I have enough confidence that I can at least stay close to him. But I'm a little worried that my team's going to underperform and I'm going to not be able to close that gap. Or that he's going to be able to close that gap. I'm kicking myself even more and I'm like I could have blown up a lot more if I put in Sanders, which got 150 or 30 points in our league, 115 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, and Kareem Hunt, who got 29 points. And I would have been able to pull away and I would have been feeling a lot more confident about going into next week and winning.
Then we have our consolation teams, half lesbians, thespians, who are finished the season at 2-11, and then the Diabetic Nation, who finished the season at 5-8. They're playing for 5th place, or simply just not dead last. And they didn't have great scoring in their matchup. Half lesbian thespians underperformers were Cam Newton by a long shot. That game was not good from him, despite doing pretty well the games before that. Chase Edmonds didn't do great. Julio Jones was questionable. He didn't play much, if at all. Browns defense, yeah, we know what happened there. Just a lot of points stacking up on both sides. I think even Baltimore's defense did worse, point-wise. Matt Prater kind of just did meh. So yeah, she couldn't even muster 100 fantasy points on the week. Nick Chubb and Devontae Adams, who two of her stars, definitely did like pretty good. Devontae Adams, 7 receptions, 115 yards and a receiving touchdown. Nick Chubb, 82 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Marquise Brown did about average, as you know, he doesn't do great usually. Then on Diabetic Nation side, Patrick Mahomes had his worst game of the year. I think he basically doubled the amount of turnovers he's committed all season.
Yeah.
I think he was at 3 turnovers to entering this game, and then he threw 3 interceptions, and that was one of the main things that was keeping him in the race, like tied with Aaron Rodgers. That was one of the main things, and the winning record as well. Having only 1 loss, that definitely helped his case. And then that happened, and it's like, well, now you only have the record to hold above Aaron Rodgers at this point. So
I feel like
Derrick Henry. Wait, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like even we can talk about MVPs later, but I was just like saying even like this is his worst performance, but even his worst performance is still a crap ton better than other players' worst performances like Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson. I don't know about Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know if they have like equally amount of turnovers, but just as a
Um,
fantasy
yeah,
perspective.
I think they have about the same amount of turnovers on the season.
Yeah.
I think I did have the stat somewhere,
I
but
think
I think it's exactly the same. And Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers' worst performance was against the Buccaneers, if you remember that early in the
Yeah.
season, where he had the 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. So
Yeah.
less than 50% completion rate. Like he had like a really, really bad worst performance ever since he's been super solid. Whereas Patrick Mahomes, he's not like super solid every game. He has like massive games, but he doesn't have like super solid all the time.
That is true.
He had a meh game against Denver, against New England. Both times he actually played Denver were not that great, I would say. Against Buffalo, against Houston that first week, even though, it was the first game of the year and he had, it was a big win still. Like looking back, I was like, oh, that was the Houston defense. He should have done way better. I would even say against Las Vegas, it was just like meh. Anyways, he does what he can to win, and that's a thing that you have to keep in mind in the MVP race. He's only had one loss, so.
Yeah, that is true.
Derrick Henry also like up there in the MVP race, but like I don't think he's actually gonna, make the short list. Massive game against, Jacksonville, so like no big surprise, but 215 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. He just had a Derrick Henry type of day. That's about it. And then let's see, did any of his Denver players do well? No. Melvin Gordon did bad. Noah Fant wasn't even in the game, it looks like. Jerry Jeudy did bad. Brandon McManus couldn't even get a field goal, and he missed 2 extra points. McManus missed 2 extra points.
Oh,
Oh,
that's so
no.
sad.
Bad loss to the Carolina. I mean,
Yeah.
no, they won. Sorry. I forgot about that because I did predict Denver. But, like, I mean, when you look at it, these, like, players, like, you would think they did better. But I guess Denver defense pulled through,
Yeah.
as they typically do for this team. So
If Licia
yeah,
would
he should have put in Broncos defense because Saints defense is terrible.
yeah. But like looking back on it, like I don't think anyone would put the Broncos defense instead of the Saints defense because the Saints played the Eagles
Yeah,
comparatively to the
yeah.
Broncos playing the Cardinals.
Have some faith.
Yeah. Licia, if she would have put her bench in, she would have won. Because I don't know why she's not starting Allen Robinson and AJ Brown more. Because like she would have had
I don't know why she has Marquise Brown in. That's crazy.
yeah, she
I mean,
would
I can understand the argument for Julio Jones. It's Julio Jones after all, but like, I just think she's not paying attention at this point. She's lost 11 games,
yeah.
so
I think she
even when
would
she does pay attention, she ends up losing. It's just like, well, what's the point? I think
yeah,
that's her
I feel
argument.
bad for her. I think she would have won at least a couple of games if she would have put AJ Brown in and or Allen Robinson, but like you said, I just don't think she's paying attention anymore.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. I want Allen Robinson on the Colts. Even though T.Y. Hilton's been doing amazing, by the way, like no disrespect to him, I think he should also resign. Especially if we get a different quarterback, because I think Philip Rivers only now is starting to throw the deep ball. Usually he's historically known to, throw to tight ends and running backs a lot. And so that's why T.Y. Hilton hasn't been getting the stats we're used to seeing from him. If we get a different quarterback and we have T.Y. Hilton and Allen Robinson, it's unstoppable. And then we have our defense is already amazing. It's just like, bro. But as of right now, it seems like Philip Rivers still wants to play next year. And that was a part of the agreement that would be, an option. So we'll see.
I have a quick question for you. Would you want Carson Wentz on your team?
I've talked about this with my dad. I think it's just the money. That's what it comes down to. I feel like there's so many other places on our team where like we could use that money. And Philip Rivers has been consistent. And if we're not, getting Philip Rivers back, might as well go for the deep quarterback class in this upcoming draft. I just feel like as great as as optimistic as you can be about Carson Wentz with Frank Reich, like that sounds cool and all. I just feel like the economical move would be to either keep going with Philip Rivers for his final years, try to get him the ring he's always wanted, or get a quarterback that, we can like start from day one with. Like,
I think
I just feel like those are the two most likely options. I know people really are like raving about like, oh, Carson Wentz on the Colts, like Frank Reich reunited. I don't think it's really that likely as people think it is.
Yeah, because like I've been hearing the buzz about that, and like I just wanted to ask you your opinion since you're a Colts fan. But I think the Eagles shot themselves in the foot with signing Carson Wentz that big contract because he's mostly untradeable solely because of the contract. I feel like we would have been getting a lot more offers than we would be if he wasn't as expensive.
I just feel like Colts isn't the type of team that, as of right now, needs a big like boost. Because like I was signing like that is kind of like the signing we had with Philip Rivers. Is like, oh, we need to just bring in some veteran presence to really boost our team, and so that's why we got Philip Rivers, and it's worked out great. I think we're at a point where we're a playoff team. Like we could easily make it to AFC Championship, even in my book. I'm not sure about the Super Bowl. Maybe like we've beaten the Chiefs last year. I don't know if we could do it again. We'll see. But I feel like we're not the team that needs that sort of like random boost. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because Philip Rivers has been doing great. Our biggest worry for him was, can he throw the deep ball accurately, and will he turn over the ball a lot? And those worries have completely evaporated. We've seen that he can do it consistently. So
yeah, that makes sense.
But that's my analysis. Anyways, yeah, enough about that. It also depends on Philip Rivers' injury because he's been working. His foot has been giving him issues, and he's going to have to get surgery after the season. And he's just kind of been playing through it because he says it's not that bad. Well, I mean, he's played through worse injuries, so he's a tough guy. Right. Diabetic Nation's. I just want to point this out last. On Diabetic Nation's team, he had some consistency out of DeAndre Hopkins and Juju Smith-Schuster. And I feel like that trio, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Derrick Henry, and I feel like even Melvin Gordon can be grouped in there as far as like consistency, because like this was a bad game from him, but usually he doesn't do that bad, right?
Yeah.
And then if like any of his quarterbacks on any given day could do amazing between Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes, he just rolled the dice. He got unlucky rolling the dice this time. He should have put in Lamar Jackson, but I don't think anyone could have like accurately predicted that Lamar Jackson would have done better than Patrick Mahomes, just based off of the trends of the season. Diabetic Nation is built to win this matchup.
Which is why it's kind of tough to have two big quarterbacks like that. It's kind of hard to choose.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of gets
you just kind of like have to work with like, oh, who are they playing, and divisional matchups, like maybe avoid those, or I mean, just like based off of trends, like, oh man, if maybe he's gone 2 wins, maybe just keep rolling with him. It's hard to kind of decipher that. Anyways, yeah, we can look at predictions now.
I think then we have the same record because I was looking.
We did.
It. Yeah, I was looking at it a couple days.
12-4.
And we like split our differences, and I was like, that's crazy. And we both had like a super good record.
Yeah, 12-4. We did great. So we both predicted the Rams against New England. That was a pretty obvious one, I think. Rams have just been playing amazing on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I thought Houston could do it against Chicago, but Deshaun Watson failed me. And I don't want to blame Deshaun Watson solely because that team is such a mess right now. But Chicago broke their their losing streak. It finally snapped. So good on them, I guess.
And they crushed Houston as well.
Destruction.
And then we got Dallas for Cincinnati.
Also destruction. All the fumbles. We talked about that.
That was
Chiefs over Miami. Closer than... Actually, I wouldn't say closer than people thought. I think people were looking at Miami as being a questionable team. Like maybe they could do it. Who knows? And it came down to the wire. Good. Tua had an amazing game, by the way. I think that was his first clearly amazing game.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's thrown an interception yet, has he?
I don't think he's had one fumble so far. Even in the loss, this is still. I don't know if you can have an impressive loss, but this was an impressive loss because they held their own one of the best teams, and this proves that maybe not this year, but definitely next year they can be a contender.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Chiefs team is Super Bowl bound. They won the Super Bowl and then they just got better, it seems like.
Yeah,
That's what the so.
it's crazy because it seems like they've been getting better every single year.
Arizona beat Giants. Now they're 7-6. They're finally back with a winning record, hoping to, with this last stretch of games that they can make it back into the playoff picture.
I was just gonna say that the Cardinals game was closer than I thought it would be.
Really? It was 26-7. Is that really
Oh
that
wait,
close?
never mind. I thought it was closer than it was. I don't know what I was thinking.
There is the 26-14 game, which I thought was closer than it was supposed to be between Buccaneers and Minnesota. It feels like both sides were just kind of like struggling to get things going on the offensive side. Tom Brady and Kirk Cousins were just not doing great on their drives. Buccaneers, just being the better team overall, managed to get the win out of that.
Yeah, I kind of wanted the Vikings to win this one because they've been on their bandwagon. I don't know. The past few games, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs because they're like barely in the hunt. And after this loss, it kind of worsened it for them, especially after the Cardinals won.
I put Denver over Carolina. You said Carolina, and I was correct. Defense came through clutch. Carolina couldn't get a lot going on offense. They managed to put up some points, but without Christian McCaffrey, it's so hard.
Mike David actually played like a really good game as well. Like it's not like he played a terrible game, but I feel like Christian would have sealed the deal for them.
Exactly. He would have sealed the deal. Tennessee over Jacksonville, no surprise there. We both got that right. Destruction as per usual. Tennessee's a solid team. Indianapolis destroyed Las Vegas. It should have been a bigger destruction. They still put up 27 points after all. But I mean, I think my worries on the offensive side of Indianapolis, like to start the year, is like, oh, we can't get anything done rushing. We can't get the deep ball to T.Y. Hilton. And then both those things were solved in this game. Like they're very apparent. And it just feels like the morale is up in Indianapolis, and it's getting me very excited.
The worst thing when you're blowing out a team is when they put up a lot of points because it seems like it's a lesser of a blowout than it actually is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it?
And we had a pick six. We had an interception in the end zone. We had a fumble recovery, both done by the same guy, by the way, Kenny Moore. Absolutely amazing. A 5'9" guy, by the way. Making that jump ball catch against Darren Waller, and then literally like stealing a ball from one of the other Raiders guys for the fumble recovery. It's beautiful.
It was kind of weird because the Dolphins had a similar interception as well, where it was kind of like that Odell Beckham kind of catch where he was falling backwards and the one-handed craziness, which was really
I was super worried. That like for Sports Center top 10 or whatever, people would look at those and be like, we'll give it to the Miami one because it was against Patrick Mahomes. Is more hype that way.
Yeah.
But Kenny Moore was number 1 on the top 10 plays of the week. I was like, yes. Let's go.
Oh, that's so awesome. Was the most of the points scored by the Raiders garbage time points, or was it like middle? Because I didn't get to watch the game.
It was in the beginning. Like Raiders at one point in the first half had the lead, and that was surprising. And they did get at like some points in the last half, but like defense shut them out for the most part second half.
Okay.
So yeah. Derek Carr said that interception was one of the most amazing defensive plays he's ever seen in person. So
that's crazy.
Lots of respect. Seahawks destroyed Jets. I mean, are we even surprised? Like,
yeah, like
whatever.
Like most of these are kind of like expected, like this game. Now we're going to the exciting stretch.
Yeah, the exciting matchups. Yeah, these last matches were super exciting, definitely. Like to end this football week was great.
Yes.
Sensational. Green Bay, close game against Detroit, but Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers does, and he seals the deal. That's what we know him to do. Detroit has struggled to close games on at many points. They've also made a lot of comebacks, so it's still very possible. But Detroit is just not that team this year.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers hinted at the fact that Matthew Stafford probably isn't going to be in Detroit next
Really?
year, and he was like, yeah, because this is the end of his contract now, and
Yeah.
organization is flailing. I don't think he wants to be a part of a rebuild with a new coach. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was like, yeah, I even went into the opponent's locker room, just like trade jerseys and whatever, and just talk with Matthew Stafford because I don't know when I'm going to play him again. I don't know what's going to happen next year. I was like, oh, shoot.
I feel bad for Matthew Stafford. We've kind of talked about this throughout the podcast, but like he's just been on a bad team for like his entire career.
Yeah.
He never had one good season. Like even when they made it in the playoffs the couple years that they did, it was still like they barely scraped by to get in, and then they lost first round. So I just feel bad for him.
I think his prime years were with Calvin Johnson.
Really? Dang.
Megatron. Yeah, absolutely. I think ever since then, it's just like he's had no like amazing like option to throw to. And even though he was losing, at least he was putting up numbers, like statistics to get him the money, right? Because he had Megatron with him. Like that offense was great. But ever since, it's just like, why am I still here at that point? New Orleans lost to Philadelphia. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any other thoughts that you didn't get to say?
Not much. We can just move on to the next matchup. Other than it was just like a whole team win, and yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Chargers beat Atlanta down to the wire as well. And I was correct. I put Chargers and you said Atlanta. And it's just like both of these teams, it was like the something's got to give sort of matchup. Like one of these teams has to win. And both teams sucked at winning beforehand.
Yeah.
So it was just like who can pull it out. And it was a close game. Low scoring though. Justin Herbert, rookie year, got it done.
Does this still solidify his rookie of the year candidacy, or do you think there's someone else that's going to?
I think he had the first half, like his first half of the season was really solid. So he hasn't been playing amazing. If he can get more wins, definitely that will help his case. But other than that, I would say Justin Jefferson. Definitely into the conversation now.
Taylor?
Maybe Jonathan Taylor. I don't know. I think he still needs some more games to be up there with Herbert and Jefferson before we can really say that. I don't know. I feel like it may be too late for Tua. Probably is.
I can't really think of any other rookies that's been exploding.
Chase Claypool, but meh. And
Jalen?
Is it regular Brandon Ayuk? Brandon Ayuk is the guy who's new to San Francisco, right? Is he a rookie?
I
feel like he's a rookie.
I can look it up.
Yeah, first round of the 2020 draft.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize he was first round.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor was second round. A non-first rounder getting the trophy, maybe? Who knows?
Yeah, that would be crazy.
NFL Rookies of the Year. Let's see who's in the conversation. Is there an article I can look at? Let's find out. Oh, they're mainly just talking about the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Apparently it's between Chase Young and Jeremy Chin for Defensive Rookie. I forgot about Jeremy Chin. He's also been doing good.
What team does he play for again?
Panthers.
Oh, okay.
James Robinson, sure.
Oh yeah, James
Robinson is definitely up there.
He's playing a lights out rookie season. Every time I play Brendan, it always seems like James Robinson always like blows up.
So yeah, there's that. Still a lot of options, still 3 games left, so we'll see. It's all about how you finish the year, because for most of the season last year, it wasn't Lamar Jackson who had the vote. It was a lot of people were saying it was Russell Wilson, as was the start of this year. So a lot of people were saying Russell Wilson. That's how you finished the year. Anyways, San Francisco lost to Washington. I don't know if that was much of a surprise, but you got that. You were right about Washington. I said San Francisco.
Yeah.
I just feel like San Francisco has been struggling with injuries, and Washington has been on a roll. They're like 4-game win streak.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why, like, I was at the beginning of this podcast, I was questioning if I really want the Eagles to be in the playoffs or not, because I'm kind of still leaning on the draft picks solely because of how Washington's been playing. Because they beat really good teams. They beat Steelers. They beat the 49ers. Not like 49ers not like the best team by all means.
No.
But they're like still a decent team. They were in the Super Bowl last year. But Washington's just been on a roll recently where they destroyed the Cowboys single-handedly, and it's just I feel like Washington is going to be able to get at least 2 more wins to finish the season to go into the playoffs. If they beat the Seahawks, they play the Seahawks this coming week, and if they beat the Seahawks, then I'm done with the Eagles' hope, and I'm
Right.
just wanting them to have draft picks at that point. Because after you like beat the Steelers and then the Seahawks and 2 out of the last 3 weeks, there's like no chance for the Eagles.
You were right about Buffalo as well, beating Pittsburgh. I had more hope in Pittsburgh, but it seems that their issues just weren't talked about. weren't talked about this week. It was very confusing. Like I just thought like after Washington they would work out the kinks, and then it seems like dropped balls and everything. They're just like it was all there still. It was like, man, like if you really want to be the dominant team, you've been hyping yourself up to be most of the season, and like you have to make those adjustments within a week. You know, like you have all week to do it, and they just
Yeah.
couldn't.
I just
Insane.
saw that I just saw that they had more flaws than what people were talking about, and I feel like they're one of the biggest fakers in the league this year. Yeah, I have to give them credit where credit's due. They have won 11 games out of 2 games they know how to finish, but I just want to see how they do in the playoffs and to finish out this.
Right. Yeah, it'll be. I mean, they're definitely in the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see how they do there.
Yeah.
Considering that they're on their downtrend, but they still have 3 games to go before then, so you know maybe they can get their spirits back before then. They still have to go through the Colts, but they get a nice little a breeze, I would say, in Cincinnati before then. So maybe they'll help their morale, which I kind of wanted to happen. I kind of want them to completely steamroll Bengals so people hype them up again, so Colts can bring that hype right back down. Because I don't want to play a downtrending team, you know? It's just like, it's not a good look for the Colts if they win. It's just like, oh, they're on the downtrend, whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. You want to beat a team during their prime.
Exactly. Really prove ourselves.
Yeah.
And then Baltimore, I got that right. It was down to the wire. Just like, man, what a great game.
Yeah,
I didn't get to see most of it, though. I only caught the last bit, but high scoring, intense game between Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson. So
the last part was probably the most interesting, and you can probably argue or make an argument that this is a game of the year, or at least up there, at least top 3.
right.
But I didn't get to see it, and I've been wanting to watch the highlights on it because it was just a crazy game for what I've seen on Instagram and stuff. And it's just like you said, it came down to the wire, and it was just a close game.
If I wouldn't be surprised if it be Colts Green Bay for most watched game of the year. Well, actually, it was the Saints Buccaneers that had number 1, Colts Packers, which I thought was game of the year before this, because it also went into overtime, which helps its case. But
yeah,
but this was also prime time between 2 teams that could easily miss the playoffs, but they're still strongly like favorites to still make it. I feel like just with the context of it, it was a big game. Divisional as well. Lamar Jackson back on his feet.
I was just going to say kind of a disappointing from last year, but yeah, let's get to
our week 15s to finish our matchups, the last half of our matchups.
We can start off with you if you want.
We both had switches at quarterback. I'm putting in Kyler Murray against Philadelphia just because he's bound for a pop-off game. He hasn't had one in a long time. He used to get them every week. So I just feel like, it has to. And against the Eagles defense, I feel like he does better against, at least rushing-wise, maybe not throwing-wise, but rushing-wise, he does better against defenses that can really, get to him quick. And so he escapes the pocket really well and just picks up the yards, right, all on his own. And that helps his fantasy points. Maybe not in real life, like his results, but, at least for fantasy owners, they like to see that. So
Yeah, I would be careful just because the Eagles defense has been playing a little bit better than normal, and they've been able to keep Taysom Hill, not that good of a quarterback, but also Russell Wilson and some of these better quarterbacks under wraps. Not necessarily. I guess they didn't really keep Aaron Rodgers under wraps. I think it's either he's going to play mediocre or he's going to have a huge game.
I mean, I'm just kind of ready for whatever. I just said like last week, I wanted to put Aaron Rodgers in 1 week and Kyler Murray the next, just to see like what happens.
Yeah.
And it worked out with Aaron Rodgers. I put him in a good week for him. And now I just hope Kyler Murray finishes it off. A good tag team duo. I'm keeping Jonathan Taylor in against Houston. Houston like lets up a lot of rushing yards. Their defense has been whack so far this season. So I think that's pretty good there. Putting Josh Jacobs back in, unless Christian McCaffrey does manage to come back, then I'll probably replace him there. But he's also questionable, so we'll see. Keenan Allen's questionable, but I feel like he'll definitely make it by Thursday. Oh, Josh Jacobs and Keenan Allen are both Thursday matchups as well, I should say. Stephon Diggs going to Denver. I think Denver defense is pretty good, so that's kind of a worry. But I don't really feel also equally any more confident with Tyler Lockett anymore. So I'm just keeping Stephon Diggs since he's the receiving yard leader. I think he's like third in receiving yards in the league. So Robert Tonyan, just solid. Calvin Ridley, pretty solid. Still subject to change depending on Christian McCaffrey. Like if Christian McCaffrey is available, I'm not sure if I'll put Josh Jacobs in flex or keep Calvin Ridley there. We'll see. Steelers defense against Cincinnati. Hopefully they don't let me down Monday night. Let's go. Young Hoku. I've just been keeping him there. I might put Blankenship back because he did actually have a better game last week than Young Hoku that did. And I don't know like how well Buccaneers will like be against Atlanta. So maybe I should switch it, but I don't know. We'll see.
The Bucs might be able to stop the Atlanta offense maybe so that the Atlanta can kick more field goals because like Tampa Bay is still like
that's what I'm thinking, but they could also turn the ball over more before they can even get the field goals. So like it goes both ways, right?
That is true. Sophia's side.
On her side, she's putting Josh Allen back in against Denver. Hopefully Denver defense, keeps him under wraps, but he still manages to get the ball out to Stephon Diggs, hopefully. That's my hopes. Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen are her Minnesota people. She's not putting in Justin Jefferson. Interesting. But they played Chicago, another good defense. So it just like perfectly lines up for me. She's keeping Austin Eckler, who's finally back and healthy and been doing well. Maybe the secret weapon for Chargers to finally start winning these games. She's keeping Chris Godwin in despite him being underwhelming. Keeping Darren Waller, I would agree with that. He's been good so far this season. Keeping Rams defense against Jets, absolutely. Good decision there. Cooper Kupp, absolutely. So yeah. I still feel very confident, especially since I'm like 48 points above her. But even if I wasn't, I would still feel pretty confident just because like her heavy hitters and Thielen and Cook playing a pretty decent defense, and so is Josh Allen. Austin Eckler is probably going to run all over Vegas though, and then Rams defense and Cooper Kupp are also going to do good. But that's about it. So
I don't know why she hasn't gotten rid of Will Fuller yet because he's out for the season with the suspension. She could pick up.
Oh yeah. I just feel like she realizes her depth is good enough that she doesn't need to bother.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyways, your turn.
So I am, how many points? I'm 28 plus 8 is 2. I'm 35 points ahead of Brendan. Still not like 35 points is, I would feel a lot more confident with your lead comparatively to my lead. This time I am feeling a little bit more scared to play Brendan because Brendan can has that potential of like going off as seen in early in the season. But I have Russell Wilson versus Washington. Washington's defense is like lighting up recently, and just how Russell Wilson and DK have been playing, or at least Wilson's been playing. He's been playing down to his potential. But I feel more confident playing DK because he is that number one receiver, or at least like two, and he does get a lot of targets.
Yeah.
I have Miles Sanders in because I made a mistake last time of not starting Miles Sanders, but so yeah, and then I got Mike Davis. I talked about Mike Davis during the while we were talking about transactions. And then first Green Bay
Mhm.
doesn't have that good of a rushing defense, so maybe you can exploit that. And then Brandon Ayuk first Dallas. Hopefully 49ers is not a great team, but I feel like Dallas and 49ers can make it a game and a lot of like passing to Ayuk. And then Kelsey, obvious choice there. Robbie Anderson. I'm kind of going between Robbie Anderson and then putting in Michael Thomas and Amari Cooper in. But all three of those receivers have been constantly average or consistent. So I'm not so worried about him not getting the points. It's just I don't know which one is going to boom because all three of them haven't boomed recently, but they've been staying consistent, which is always good to have on a team. I just don't want him to bust, and I don't think he will. Then Dolphins defense versus New England, not much to say there, and Crosby versus the Panthers. I got rid of my kicker because I don't see the reason why to have two kickers on a team unless if they're like super good and like two of the best where you can switch that. And I just didn't feel like
Young Hoku and Blankenship.
yeah, like for you. But I didn't have that on my team. So like lots between Crosby. I just feel like Crosby is much better. And I'm going to stick with Crosby for the rest of the season. And then on his side, Taysom Hill and Kamara, the Saints are playing the Chiefs defense, which now looking at it is actually making me feel a little bit better because the Chiefs defense is solid. But again, that can be a shootout. And if it goes into a shootout because they're both like high powered offenses, then it's going to be a problem for me. Do you know if Drew Brees comes back, then Taysom Hill is probably not going to play. So
I mean, I feel like every game Drew Brees has played so far, Taysom Hill has gotten some snaps anyways. But like obviously that's not worth starting in a league. So
yeah, so like if Brendan like keeps Hill in and then Drew Brees does end up playing, then that's gonna work in my benefit. I don't
unless
know.
he switches it out for Tom Brady.
Yeah. I don't know if I should give him the heads up on that or not.
I will.
Because wait, what was that?
I will if it's confirmed.
Okay. Dang it. I shouldn't have said something. Anything.
No, I was going to do it anyways.
Yeah. Alvin Kamara nonetheless is still playing. And then James Robinson is like playing against Baltimore, and then Tyreek Hill is playing against the Saints, both like really good defenses. So like that actually gives me a lot more confidence to play Brendan because like I didn't realize that the top four guys for him are playing really solid defenses.
But then Robert Woods and Eric Ebron against easy defenses, so maybe it's their breakout game.
I can see Robert Woods blowing up, but not so much Eric Ebron because he hasn't had a boom game this year.
Nah.
And then Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones though against Carolina.
Yeah, I can see that booming.
They have not been rushing him the way they should. I feel like this has to be one of those games where they finally let Aaron Jones free.
Yeah, I agree. I'm afraid of Aaron Jones. I think Brendan's going to switch the Cowboys defense for the Ravens defense. Definitely because the Ravens defense is playing against the Jags. So that would be a smart decision. And if he does do that, then
you should put Justin Tucker as well. Yeah. Who's this Graham Gano guy?
Yeah, he only got like 1 point, and I was like shocked. But Gano has actually been a decent kicker. He had looking at his stats though, he's pretty decent.
I'm just saying Justin Tucker is more consistent and the veteran option. So
yeah, a choice between Tucker versus Gano, obviously Tucker. Yeah. But yeah, that's I think I'm going to pull out in this victory. I think I'm going to win. It's going to be a close game, I feel. Because I feel like
a shootout.
a shootout. I feel like Brendan the only thing that's giving me confidence that I'm going to win is my 35-point lead. I just have to stay close to Brendan. At least I don't have to win. I just have to stay close. And then I get to move on to the championship. And hey, it could be me and you in the championship. That would be really exciting. I want that to happen because it's like we've been doing this podcast and stuff. Like me and you. I mean, you probably like are going
If
to.
I don't win this championship, I'm going to be so salty. I just feel like I deserve it the most.
Yeah. Like imagine I come in 4 seed, like 6 and 7, and then like beat you in the like championship after beating Brendan. It's just like what? Like I'm the worst like team in this league. And just to beat like the 2 best players in this league, it's just
Yeah. Yeah, after this past week, I've just kind of gotten my mentality is like, if I don't win this championship, I swear to God.
Yeah.
Before this past week, I would have been like, you know what, whatever. But
Yeah.
now I'm on fire, so we'll see.
If I meet you in the championships, I am going to have 0 confidence because I feel like it's like a fluke that I beat Brendan. Depending on how much, like if I beat Brendan again that badly again, it's gonna give me a confidence.
But hey, Brendan has scored the most points in the regular season, so any given week he can just pop off and obliterate someone. So
that is true, and that is one
we'll
reason
see.
why I am.
Still have to wait a week, man.
Yeah.
Yep, you should be. It'll be fun. A fun week. The week before Christmas.
Yeah.
So,
I just hope. Yeah. I just was gonna say I hope that we get in the championship because we've been doing this podcast. It'd be pretty cool to see.
Yeah. We're the 2 people who pay attention the most, so it makes sense.
I guess we don't have to.
But also, I feel like Sophia, like, if I would have to say like a third person who deserves the championship most, it'd probably be Sophia because I feel like she definitely looks at it more than Brendan does.
Yeah.
Like she pays attention at least. I mean, Brendan still cares, obviously, but I feel like Sophia, like silently, maybe, just like cares about it more.
Yeah, but like,
anyways, but I like she's gonna have to put up a lot of points to be able to get that far now. So
yeah,
not impossible. And then Half Lesbian Thespians and Dieback Nation. I just feel like I said before, like Half Lesbian Thespians, Nick Chubb, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Allen Robinson, and AJ Brown, all on her roster. It's just everyone else is just like nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
And so that's her downfall. And then on his side, it's Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. On his side, it's Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster. Rob Gronkowski, who's actually been pretty good. Yeah, just like this is a pretty solid roster overall, I would say.
I think Gordon. This is the least amount of like Broncos that Trey had in a game. So I always feel like he has had at least
3.
3 is still a lot, but I mean,
yeah, maybe.
I feel like he always had.
Oh yeah, you're right. No offense out. Oh, and they're going against Buffalo. Jerry Jeudy and Melvin Gordon against Buffalo. Oh, yikes.
Wait a second. Brandon McManus is listed as out. So he's only going to have 2 Denver players. That's crazy. This is like the most diverse that we've ever seen Trey.
No, he's still possible to play with the Bills. Yeah. Apparently he had close contact with a COVID person, but he's been testing negative so far, so he can still play. It's just as of right now, he's on the COVID-19 reserve list, so that's what he's listed as out.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Anyways, I think Trey will solidify this on, barring some crazy tag team duo between like Devontae Adams and like Nick Chubb just like popping off, which is possible. Devontae Adams against Carolina, Nick Chubb against Giants. It's possible. We'll see. Primetime games as well, both of them.
And
all Cam Newton needs to do is not mess up. You know, he just needs to play average.
But he's playing against Miami, which is going to be hard. I say if Felicia puts in Allen Robinson and/or AJ Brown, she's going to possibly win and get a new quarterback. But I doubt she's going to do that because like she needs a lot to win, and I don't think she cares enough to actually make that difference.
Anyways, let's finally get to predictions. The best part of the show, in my opinion. We just predict things. You're up 8 games as well. You have a 66% win rate, and I have 62%.
Last week was the time for you to pull ahead
Still through.
and start getting some catchback, but we tied, which is kind of annoying.
It is annoying. It is so annoying, but
yeah.
We'll see. What about this week? We have Las Vegas, who are close to not even having a winning record anymore, unfortunately, versus the Chargers, who are finally on a winning pace, I would say.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I'm going to say a little bit of an upset here and say the Chargers.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I think it's possible, definitely.
Yeah.
Because Las Vegas defense is real bad.
Just due to how the Raiders have been playing the past few games as well.
Yeah, they did fire the defensive coordinator, though, by the way, after the Colts game. Maybe they'll be okay again. That's fair. No, yeah, that's fair. I say Las Vegas, though. I just feel like, divisional matchup. I mean, it is always possible that Chargers can also get the upset there, but I feel like coaching-wise, I feel like Vegas has that going for them, and Derek Carr is still pretty good, and Chargers defense isn't all that, so
yeah,
that's my reasoning. Buffalo 10-3 versus Denver 5-8. Buffalo's trying to get as high a seed as possible. They might surpass Steelers in seeding. Who knows? Who you got?
I got the Bills in this one.
You got the Bills? Me too.
They've been just looking too good, and the Broncos have
not.
Simple as that.
Yep. Absolutely. Green Bay 10-3 versus Carolina 4-9. Rodgers is hoping to continue his MVP campaign, and Carolina is just trying to not look like fools at this point. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Packers. Packers are just too good.
Absolutely.
Too good of a team to lose to the Panthers. I
feel like at this point, you wouldn't be shocked if what?
I wouldn't be shocked if they made it close under a game, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess if Detroit can do it, I don't see why Carolina couldn't, but we'll see. I feel like at this point it's Chiefs, Green Bay in the Super Bowl, barring any insane upsets. We'll see how they finish the season. Tennessee 9-4, Detroit 5-8. Detroit has made some interesting, games happen. So I don't think it's super impossible for Detroit, but Tennessee also is just a solid team on both sides of the ball. Who you got?
I got the Titans. There's two.
Lions have me too.
Lions good, and Titans have been on fire recently.
Yeah, I'm cheering for the upset because that would help the Colts in the playoff race as well. But I can't see it happening. I can't. We'll see. Colts and their Houston's rematch against them. Colts are 9-4. Houston's 4-9. So there's reverse records again. Houston did make it close. It came down to a goal line fumble from Deshaun Watson. So who you got?
I got the Colts. I feel like they're going to blow out the Texans this time to make a statement as well, to make a statement from 2 games ago where they got it close, like you said, and I didn't feel like that's not going to happen 2 times in a row. So yeah.
Yeah, we did. We also had a lot of people missing, to be fair. I mean, we did have some people back because it wasn't as bad as against the Titans. We had a lot of people out, but against Houston, we still had some people missing. And yeah, I would say it just wasn't our best showing in general. But Deshaun Watson's one slippery dude. We'll see. Hopefully we get a blowout in the same way Chicago got a blowout against them. Rams 9-4, Jets 0-13. Will this be the game? They finally get a win? I don't think so.
I also don't think so. I think
Rams are too solid.
Yeah. I feel like you're going to win that bet. I feel like the Jets aren't going to win the rest of the season. They had their opportunities and they just blew it. Yeah. They could have, but they didn't.
Jets finishes their season against Rams, and then they will have to play Cleveland, and then their last game will be against New England, which probably is their best chance, as it was the first time they played when it came down to a field goal, but we'll see. Atlanta 4-9, Tampa Bay 8-5, a divisional matchup. Atlanta's basically doing this for pride at this point. Tampa Bay is just trying to get themselves back into the Super Bowl conversation since they definitely slipped at some point. So who you got?
I got the Bucks on this one.
Yeah, me too.
I'm disappointed in the Falcons. They should have won against the Chargers. But yeah.
Miami 8-5, New England 6-7. Cam Newton and Belichick hoping to get this divisional win to keep their playoff chances alive. I feel like if they lose it, definitely if they lose this, there's no way, especially since Miami's in their division. But
Yeah.
who you got?
I got the Dolphins on this one just because of how
Mhm.
they've been playing recently, and they made it super close against the Chiefs as well. So I just don't see them losing this game.
Here's a coin flip. It's Minnesota Vikings 6-7 versus Chicago Bears 6-7 in the same fucking division. It's going to go down to the wire, I bet. But who do you have?
Oh, this is so hard. I might need to say the Vikings on this
You say
one.
the Vikings?
Yeah.
I also said the Vikings. I
Oh
thought you
yeah.
would actually go Chicago. But yeah, I feel like even though I probably shouldn't be cheering for the Vikings because Sophia has those two Vikings guys, I feel like they just have it together more and they have better wins than Bears have had recently. Like
Mhm.
Vikings beat Green Bay. Like they can do it, you know. But Chicago at the same time, they finally broke their losing record. Maybe they have their confidence back. Who knows?
But it was against a crappy team, so
Yeah, whatever. I mean, Houston
Hmm.
still like give them their fucking respect. God damn it. Deshaun Watson's doing the best he can, considering the circumstances.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyways, Giants 5-8, still trying to get to the playoffs. Maybe surpass Washington. Cleveland 9-4. I say they're in the playoffs, but it's just like they're trying to get as best seeding as possible. So here you go.
I got the Browns on this one.
Me too. Baker
Um,
Mayfield's been looking great.
yep. I need the Browns to win so I can only focus on Washington losing. I both need Giants and Washington to lose to have the Eagles have a chance. But yeah, Browns are just too good.
Speaking of, are you predicting Seahawks over Washington? Seahawks 9-4, Washington 6-7.
This is a lot closer than you think, and I'm so close on the wire to picking Washington. But I'm going to have to pick the Seahawks on this one. But I'm so close to picking Washington just because of how the Seahawks have been playing. But I feel like the Seahawks got momentum from the Jets, even though it was the Jets. But it was still like 40-3 nonetheless. Yeah, I'm picking the Seahawks, but it's so close.
All right, Baltimore 8-5, Jacksonville 1-12. Baltimore needs a couple more wins to remain in the playoff picture and, just be in the playoffs. Jacksonville has no chance, but they're starting Gardner Minshew again, giving him some final snaps before they probably cut him off. And I don't know, I feel like they're getting Justin Fields probably.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the draft order. It's Trevor Lawrence to Jets, Justin Fields to Jaguars, unless they don't end up going to the NFL. They could stick in college one more year. Who knows? But who you got?
I got the Ravens.
Yep. Same. No more need to be said there. Arizona 7-6 versus Philadelphia 4-8-1. They're both looking to get in the playoffs. They're both third in their... Yeah, I think they're both third in their division. Just trying to get back into the conversation, coming off of wins. Right? Arizona won?
Yeah.
Who you got?
This is closer just because of the Saints game. This is closer than it should be, but I'm wanting to pick the Eagles solely because I'm an Eagles fan, and they did beat the Saints.
Ride or die, baby. Ride or die.
Ride or die. Do you have the Cardinals in this one?
Yeah, I took the card. Sorry, I need to see Kyler Murray do well.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like Eagles' hopes are just. I'm a doubter right now. I just feel like Eagles can't muster that sort of late season sort of thing. If they do it with Jalen Hurts, that would be insane. One for the history books, but
Yeah.
I just don't think it's possible. And I want to see Cardinals in the playoffs as well. So because
Yeah,
I feel like they can pick things up, make it interesting. So
yeah. I'm just saying the Eagles solely because of the Eagles fan, or as an Eagles fan. And they just beat the Saints, and I think that for some odd reason, every time they have a backup, they do have this magic. So I just believe they can get this win.
oh, here's another coin flip. Chiefs 12-1, New Orleans 10-3. I feel like it's a coin flip at least. Who you got?
I got the Chiefs. Wait, you were frozen for a little bit, or you're freezing.
Hold on, you're lagging.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're frozen for me too.
You're still kind of like frozen, but I can still hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you too, but you're frozen.
Oh wait, there we go.
Wait, I think I see you moving. Say something.
Hi.
So,
Oh wait, there we
so you
go.
have the Chiefs?
Yeah, I got the Chiefs. Who do you got?
You have the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like Chiefs are a way better team, and Saints aren't playing as good as they should be. Who do you
I
got?
have no idea. I have the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wait.
I don't know.
Oh no,
Might be
you're
mine.
up again. Okay, there we go. Wait, can you hear me?
Oh, you're back. Okay, I think it's finally solved.
Okay, good. Good. That was weird.
Yeah. So I have the Chiefs as well. Maybe we should just finish this. If I won't explain anymore, just they're the Super Bowl team. So
Yeah.
and we don't even know if Drew Brees is back. So
Yeah.
Dallas 4-9, San Francisco 5-8. Who you got?
I got the 49ers to win. I just feel like they're a way better team than the Cowboys.
Mhm.
And I just hate the Cowboys.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, this is not even a question, but Cincinnati 2-10-1, Pittsburgh 11-2. Who you got?
I got the Steelers 11-2. This is an obvious one.
Yeah. So those are our predictions. Our two disputes are Arizona, Philadelphia, and Las Vegas Chargers. I have Las Vegas and Arizona. You have Chargers and Philadelphia. Only two disputes this time, opposed to 6 last time. So maybe not as interesting as this week, but we'll see. Anything could happen. So
Anything can happen.
that is all. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me screenshot this.
Love you guys. See you next week. Deuce.